Hey Greg, this is Jason here from GMR. I'm going to walk you through the assembly of your rear ceramic bearing hub setup. Each hub setup is blueprinted, as I've gone over with you, so it's very critical on how these go together and why. This one right here is your right hand side. It is already together and ready to go. So this is what it's going to look like, and this is what we're starting with. So right now I've got everything set out on 2 rags. Reason for that is the balls tend to not want to roll when you drop them onto the rags. So if you drop a ball or a bearing, it's easier to find and deal with. You're going to have 16 per side, just for reference. So if you see 15 or 17, you've got something going on wrong. Now, this hub body is already ready to go. We have located your studs for you with Loctite into our specific torque. So you're going to start from the back. The way it's going to go is we're going to go bearing, spacer, seal. Now, each setup is dialed. So this is race number 4. If you can see, there's 4 notch marks. This is retainer 4, and then the inside is number 4 as well. So this entire side right here is all for the back bearing. This is number 3, and that's all for our front bearing. So we've got hub 1.5207 here, and I've got spacer 1.5207, just so you know everything is matched accordingly. This can go either way. There's no critical measurement on that. It is perfectly straight to each other. So let's get started. First off, I've got this grease right here. I'm going to include this with your box just in case you're wondering. This is what I prefer. This is what I like to use, and you'll see how we put everything on. It doesn't need to go crazy or over the top, but you definitely want to make sure everything is covered. Right now, we're going to grease up the inside of the race and prepare it so we can start putting all the balls in and interior structure together. Now this is definitely tricky, and it might take you a few times to master. I've done it quite a few times, and it still can take me a little bit of time. So I typically will start off with 3. I'll take my race and get it in there, get it nice and sideways like that. And what I'm going to do is just slowly feed in each ball at a time, kind of keeping this up at an angle. Again, a good reason why the rag is there, because if you drop a ball all the way through, it doesn't really want to roll away. If you do drop one, go grab it right then. Do not wait for it to later or keep going. Just let that sit like that and go look for whichever you've lost or dropped down in that hole. You know, that way you can move forward and you're not losing anything, because these are the key to this whole setup. The key is you keep the bottom edge inside the race. These are machined to where the balls will not fall through. If you notice, I can push on it. He's not going to fall through. Super slight taper right there. See? I can push on him all day. So don't worry about them falling inside. They can only go outside. If it was the other way around, we'd be in a serious world of hurt. You never get these things together. You can see I'm utilizing one hand to pretty much hold and prop everything, while the other one is feeding everything together. Now, I've got all my balls in place. You see how it's just resting around the outside edge there? You'll notice it is a slight little push fit into there. I don't know if I call it a slip fit, because it's a little bit of a push, and you'll feel it kind of pop into place, so to speak. So just watch closely. Boom. Boom. Now this is popped in there, and as you see, he's not coming out. Again, something real simple, little feature that will save you such a headache, because if it didn't do that, I mean, I'd be picking up everything right now. Now we're going back to our grease. Again, nothing major. You can use your finger or a Q-tip as long as everything is clean. I cannot emphasize enough that you do not want any dust or contaminants inside everything. Now the key to this is you want to put the grease on the top side of each ball. So on this side, because the race comes down onto that side. If that makes any sense. And just put it right between each one. Just a tiny little glob is plenty. And what it will do is as soon as it turns, it'll work it all the way through the assembly. Now this is definitely the stuff you want to use. Do not use Red and Tacky or a Lucas equivalent that we would suggest for our taper roller bearings. Now you can see you're ready to go, and we've got number 4 interior race. Again, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of grease on the contact surface, which is the bottom side of that. You can see right in there. Drop him into place. Boom, and he pops right in. Ready to go. Then just move it around a few times and it'll work that grease all the way around. Good to go. Now here is the spacer that goes in between the bearing and our snout, and it properly locates everything. So what I'm going to do is, just in case, because this guy rides on the snout, put just a tiny little bit inside of him and set him in place right there. Don't worry about lining him up. I'll show you a trick to that once we flip everything over. Here is our seal right here. What you want to do is take just the tiniest amount of grease and just barely go around this edge. Not a lot. I mean, I'm talking literally just enough to where you can barely feel it on your fingers. In case you're wondering, I've got lacquer thinner on a rag here. I keep wiping my fingers off to keep it from building up too much grease, because you don't want grease all over everything. Now this faces a certain way. That goes down, this goes up when you're looking at the back of the hub. So he's going to go down just like that. Now, there's a million ways you can do it. You can press it on. I like to tap it on, just super easy.